Let's start this week by learning how to use AI like the top 1% of users. We're focusing on where the core value of generative AI lives, in large language models or LLMs. At this point, I'm assuming you already have a basic understanding of these models. You know roughly how they work, what they're good at, and where they can fail. You've heard about hallucinations, understand their token-based probabilistic nature, and you know why judgment and accountability must always remain human. Today is about helping you understand the landscape of the major platforms, where they are similar, where they meaningfully differ, and how top AI leaders actually work with them in practice. There are many high-quality language models today, but in terms of global adoption, enterprise penetration, and product maturity, 4 platforms dominate executive workflows. ChatGPT from OpenAI, Gemini from Google, Copilot from Microsoft, and increasingly Claude from Anthropic. All these 4 platforms run on frontier-level models trained on massive multimodal datasets. That's why they're strong at the same core tasks like drafting, summarizing, analyzing long documents, brainstorming, restructuring ideas. And also why they have the same weaknesses, like missing context, sounding confident when they're wrong, and sometimes overgeneralizing. The real difference isn't just how smart the model is, which is constantly evolving, but also the product layer. And that means how well each tool connects to your workflow and your systems, how well it remembers context, and the specific features that it offers, making the best choice also dependent on where and how you work. The most important insight is this: the top 1% AI leaders rarely rely on a single LLM as the only voice in the room. Advanced AI users intentionally bring in a second model to fact-check outputs, challenge assumptions, reframe problems, service blind spots, and test whether an answer holds up under a different reasoning style. This is something we call cognitive diversification. These leaders are not adding another AI to move faster, but to be more critical. Just like strong leaders invite dissent to improve decisions, strong AI users design disagreement into their workflow. So the goal of today's lesson is not to force you to use multiple platforms, but it's to help you develop a landscape fluency so that you can choose deliberately. Even if you standardize on one tool, you are doing that with awareness. You are designing a thinking system and not defaulting to the convenience. And you don't need to master every platform. The objective here is fluency, not tool accumulation. So with that in mind, one more practical note: there are quite a few demos coming up. If you want to stick to 30 minutes of study time, you may want to pick the 2 that seem most helpful to you, but for a full orientation, you can of course watch all the videos.